That come out of our CJ Entus player, but first in the top left, the blue Protoss representing SK Telecom T1, he is Classic.
And on the right bottom side of King Sejong Station, we have the red Protoss player who's currently up 1-0. Give it up for CJ Entus herO.
Such awesome matches we get here at the BlizzCon. And BlizzCon, man, such a big venue, so many awesome people coming out to watch these games, and the level of play from these guys is just insane. I mean, I think it's no secret, I've been a bit of a herO fan for quite a while, mostly from Pro League as well. He's been one of the more entertaining guys, but Classic has an interesting history too. We know he started playing StarCraft 2. He was a Terran player, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy's really good because he does some weird builds. Then he switches to Protoss. I'm like, you left me, man. This is like, I don't know, it's almost like the grudge match.
Well, we embraced him with open arms. He's one of us now, Nate. One of us. He's a great Protoss player, and he's definitely fun to watch. I do still think you can sometimes see it in his play that he used to be a Terran, especially when he plays against Terran, because he does everything that a Terran player hates.
Oh yeah. Well, you believe me, there's only so many ways you can make the strategies that he used against Polt work, and if MMA has to play him in the next match, he's going to be very, very scared.
For sure. So far the openings are very identical. Neither player doing anything too crazy yet. herO dropping his pylon on the low ground. That's kind of funny. He could do something weird with that, as in like drop a Stargate, but I'd be a little bit surprised to see herO open up with a Stargate on King Sejong Station. I'm not going to say it's bad, because that's not the case at all, but this is herO, man. herO opens up with Blink Stalkers on maps like this.
Yeah, I mean, normally you'd say like the pylon in Classic space could be, well, I don't want you to be able to easily scout what I put here, but herO's pylon says, if you probe scout me, you might think that I've proxied something somewhere else, and where, you know, here it's just a little bit closer.
He's already sending the probe out again, so this really gives me a Stargate feeling, because, you know, the Stargate unit actually has to travel a little less distance, so you could maybe get a little bit more work done with it. I'd be very surprised if this is not a Stargate. But what herO does pretty often, and he has a lot of variety in his PvP openings, I didn't even have the chance to talk about that yet, but he switches it up. Yes, he loves Blink Stalkers, but very often it's 1 gate Stargate, then Twilight Console, or 1 gate Stargate Expand, then Twilight Console. Sometimes it's 2 gate Stargate Twilight, and sometimes he really goes crazy, then it's like 1 gate Twilight into a Stargate, which is like, where are you going with this? But like stuff like that can work. Of course, PvP has a lot of very small, almost invisible, but still very strong timings that you will know if you play this matchup extremely often, but we really have to go in depth for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see this. Classic opening up 2 sentries. This looks like it's just going to be a single gateway fast expand. Do the sentries give you enough to defend if herO were to open up with an Oracle?
You have the Mothership Core, no?
Yeah, so Photon Overcharge to defend.
Yeah.
What's the best play? Because he's going to scout this very easily, and of course the Sentry can't stop him from seeing. He shouldn't be able to stop him from seeing this Nexus.
And now I'm so. I think he saw it. Yeah, he caught a glimpse of it. Now I'm so curious to see what herO will do. Of course, he can just expand. That is the safe play. But you know what I love, Nate. You know what I love. Like if he makes
3 gate Phoenix, Roddy.
Yep, 3 gate or 4 gate Phoenix. I think it's extremely strong against openings like this, like the one Classic is doing now. But we'll see. herO can still expand, and there would be nothing wrong with an expand play at all, because these Phoenixes, they should still pay for themselves. Well, we're about to figure out something that's very, very important for this game.
Yeah. Okay, herO takes the Nexus, so he wants to use the Phoenix to harass and basically kill enough probes that he equalizes his later Nexus, so he doesn't really fall behind in economy, but he has the opportunity to do much more, especially since Classic has no tools to harass himself.
The worst thing for Classic is that he has a Stargate that's about to finish up. I didn't even... there we go. And I don't really like that play at all. I mean, you could say that he has a slightly better economy, but catching up in Phoenix count, that's so difficult. He's adding 2 more gateways as well, so maybe Classic is going to try to return the favor, but everything of last game is what I'm trying to say, but you know, everything is scouted. herO just knows everything that's going on. herO knows every single option that Classic has. I kind of wish he would have canceled that Stargate and drop a Twilight Console, but that's just me.
Yeah, the single Stalker poking actually is kind of interesting. Reminds me of that MC herO game on this map last week. Comes in, tries to snipe the Sentry, actually does not get it, and loses a Phoenix almost too.
Yeah, good focus fight there, because he clicked the Photon Overcharge to the Phoenix that took most damage already. Well done there by herO. by Classic, because now suddenly this Phoenix war is something that he can win, like 2 against 3, but one of them is very low on HP, so this is actually something that he can catch up. It's 3 against 3 even, and he has more HP on one of the Phoenixes. That was a bad move by herO. You cannot lose Phoenixes. They're so fast, they're so strong, but they're also so expensive. You should not lose them in this phase in the game.
Yeah, the wasted firepower on the Sentry he couldn't kill hurt him quite a bit, and now the defender's advantage works in the favor of Classic. Actually hallucinates a couple of Stalkers. I guess wants to feign a bit of pressure, but he might have seen him make those hallucinations. Either way, he does want to try to delay the mining on this base. It actually looks like he's even still warping in outside this base.
Once more, we have the hidden probe behind enemy lines, but this time Classic is not going crazy on the probe count. He's not sitting on 40 workers now, no. He's sitting on 28 workers, but Guardian Shield is being popped as well. He could even lift up a Phoenix if he wants to, or a Stalker, but it's very tricky because Phoenixes do extra damage against Phoenixes. So in general, you don't want to lift up units, you just want to let them fight each other and then see where this is going. But I really like Classic's position quite a bit so far in King Stage on Station. It's 5 against 5. One of the extra Phoenixes just popped, but it seems like Classic is going to get the better hand of this engagement. No, he's actually losing a bunch of Phoenixes. It's 2 against 1 left in the end, but I still think that is something that Classic can work with. I'm very surprised that that Phoenix battle turned out the way it did, because it looked like it was 5 against 5 with more HP on the Phoenixes of Classic, but I think herO had some excellent focus fire there.
Yeah, it's tricky, especially seeing as herO was, you know, we get to see his perspective defending against the Zealot aggression. That one pylon will finally be killed, but it's one of those things that definitely keeps you on your toes. You don't want to commit too much to your opponent's base when they have a pylon in yours.
Yeah. Very interesting game here, because it just felt like Classic was starting to be in control of things, especially having that pylon there. I don't really like the fact that he revealed a single Zealot. I think if he makes 2 Zealots and sends 1 to both bases, that would already be a little bit more frustrating for herO. Twilight Console is going to be the follow-up. We know he loves his Twilight Console, and yeah, I can see how it makes sense in this game. I also wouldn't have mind to see a second Stargate, but that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I'm kind of mostly interested to see where Classic goes from here, because you can't just build Phoenix forever. Can you, Roddy? Can he just build Phoenix?
Theoretically, you can. If you drop a second Stargate and you just go ham on the Phoenix count, there is a good chance. But then you do need to add in a robotics facility to make sure you won't die against just Blink Stalker, so you have an Immortal or 2 in the mix. But you can build Phoenixes for a surprising long amount of time in this matchup if you want to.
All right, well, herO, we said going into Blink, but also grabbing the Dark Shrine at the same time. This hallucinated Phoenix would love to spot that, and he does. A very important read for Classic, as I think this should prompt him into building that robotics facility you were talking about.
I totally would. Having a Robo is always good in this matchup. This is indeed a building that will drag this match on for a little while longer. I know I said this before, but Classic, I always feel like he sees how the early game evolves, and then he looks for an opportunity to actually win the game.
Oh, he canceled the Dark Shrine, it looked like, too.
Yeah, after
he scouted it. So that's nice, because you basically say, now you have to build your Robo, and Classic does, and it's like, well, now you're going to have to, that's going to delay the amount of production you have, because he's adding on 4 extra gateways right as Blink is finishing up.
Yep, that's the big gateway explosion, and pylons are already going down on the right top side of the map. It's very, very important for Classic that he spots this, that he sees that the Dark Shrine is cancelled. He can't get distracted now by the Phoenixes from herO. He's going to see, he's like, all right, there's no Dark Shrine anymore. It seems like herO might end up losing a Phoenix, or maybe even 2 over here, but he spots the gateway. So Classic now knows what it is, and he's still happy with that robotics facility, and you better be ready to chrono boost out those Immortals, because that's the unit that he needs right now, Nate.
Yeah, the robotics facility has been done. He's finished his Twilight as well. He's getting charged. Z's Phoenix, every probe he kills slows down herO's ability to warp in additional Stalkers, but he still has enough resources banked up to add on quite a few once the gateway is complete.
The risky thing about that, like, that was pretty awesome harass, but he did just use all of the energy, so the Phoenixes defensively won't really help out a whole lot right now. So you could say they're even in army supply, but herO has Blink, and Classic does not, so he has to be very careful now and stop using Graviton Beam for everything and just get an Immortal out, which
he's killed a surprising amount of the Phoenix just on his way back to his base, and he's put out, he actually built an Observer before he started the Immortal, so this slows down his production. His defensive capabilities against Blink aren't really looking that strong.
This is going to be very close. Like, yes, he's up in army supply, but a lot of these Phoenixes don't actually have energy right now, so they're not helping out all that much. What herO could do is blink into the main base with everything. moving.
On, try to force field with the sentries.
But it's always a risky move.
He needs to get close to that ramp if he wants to make that happen. Just targeting down a few units and then stepping away with his blink. He's actually bleeding out a few stalkers, though. So the more that Classic can trade out here, the better for him, because his tech is a little more late game oriented.
That Immortal just said, I loved when you call me Big Papa, Nate. He's here, and he's going to make the life of these stalkers a lot harder. There, herO does go for the big blink, though, into the main base. He's going to get a pylon. Obviously, this army from Classic is very immobile, but Classic is very worried. He's actually not committing yet, so herO's going to stick around a little longer.
I mean, these units are funneling in and allowing the stalkers of herO to get a crazy amount of damage. Now blinking down, and he's moving these units out of the position. If he can get these sentries to that ramp and cut off the reinforcements, this gets really tricky. He gets the force field. herO's inside of Classic's natural, jumps up, gets the Void Ray, and this Nexus is as good as dead, Kev.
Beautiful play by herO over here, and indeed this Nexus is as good as dead. There's at least 2 more force fields available for these sentries, and now Classic is ending up losing a lot of probes. He might actually end up losing the Nexus as well. Ooh, a couple of Zealots just stream through.
He's like, yeah, I'll let you guys come through, kill you, then get back to work on that Nexus and those sentries,
he's using Photon Overcharge and the probes to kill the sentry, so he's waiting for the force field to expire, but it's not going to make a difference. This Nexus will still fall. Beautiful play by CJ Enters herO.
Yeah, and I mean, the Zealot Warpins basically say your Immortals are going to be a lot less effective. Of course, the probes are completely useless, and herO's in a dominant position. He's been building an Oracle behind this.
Yeah,
that was a little confusing for me.
yeah. You caught me off guard with that one. Classic is moving out. He knows that he's so far behind that expanding is not an option anymore, but I am afraid that winning this fight is not an option either against all these Blink Stalkers and all these Zealots. It's 2-0 for CJ Enters herO.
Fantastic play by herO, really abusing the blink ability that he had. You know, he's kind of known for it, right? This is what he loves to do in Classic, just getting pulled all the way back up into his main base, allowing that force field play to happen.
Yeah. The funny thing was, though, and this was actually the coolest about that entire play by herO. herO blinked into the main base, but you could see that Classic was obviously very worried about what we mentioned already as well, that force field going down on the ramp. So he didn't send everything. He was kind of sending his units bit by bit, and of course there were those annoying force fields as well. And then suddenly herO was like, well, if you're not really committing to this, then I'm just keeping my Blink Stalkers around a little longer, and I'm going to out-micro here. And then Classic was like, oh shoot, now I need to send the Immortal over as well, and I need to send in more Zealots. Otherwise, I'm just straight up losing the fight in my main base. And the moment he sent more units deeper into his own base, that's when herO got the hell out of there and then ran up that ramp to drop those force fields. Just very well done. I do not understand the decision of that Observer, though, of that Observer before the Immortal. Either he did that because he thought that maybe this would
help. That Dark Shrine, you know, did he ever see that it was canceled is the big question, because...
He saw it, but did he see it?
Yeah, well, it's like, well, I know you could, because the thing is, if you know, it's a bad play when the way that we look how it played out, but if herO had finished the Dark Shrine and had a Dark Templar too, you want the Observer.
Yeah, but he saw with the Phoenixes. He flew in, and he was in deep enough.
Yeah, when he went in for the harass after Blink finished.
Exactly. So he saw, or at least he could have seen that it was cancelled, but there is another reason why he would make that Observer, and that is to shut down the Blink Stalker play from herO. Him being like, all right, my army is a little bit more immobile. I'm going to get an Observer out. I have Phoenixes, so it will be very easy for me to snipe your Observer, and then you're forced to attack in the front. So that could be the reasoning behind it, but I'm still not sure if I like it. I still think that he should have prioritized the Immortal, but I guess it's easy to speak afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he had I could say that he did a great job of defending the early aggression, but now doesn't matter as much because he's down 0-2. If he loses this map, he'll be eliminated from the World Championship Series Global Finals. And Merry-Go-Round, man, this is another map that I think for herO he's got to like for Blink.
Yep, everybody loves Merry-Go-Round when you're a Blink player. Lots of herO fans in the audience as well. I'm sure Classic has some fans too, though, so make sure to make a lot of noise for him as soon as we'll introduce our players on map number 3. Such a nice position now for herO, playing PvP, having 3 match points. That is just, you can go a little crazy here if you want to, but then again, does he have to? He looks...
You try to take the series, give it your best, and then you've got the rest of the day to prepare for MMA. And you know, with both of these guys playing some crazy PvT, I'm sure they'll have some special strategies in store. But let's see if this guy can bring things back. He needs to win 3 maps in a row to move on here at BlizzCon. In the top left position, the blue Protoss player representing SK Telecom T1. It is Classic.
And over here on the bottom side of merry-go-round, we have the Pro Display that has a lot of fans in the audience, a lot of cheerfuls here for